Alright, so I wanted to talk today a little bit about how I think the golden age, or what is the easiest, most convenient time to buy and own and operate a electric vehicle is starting to close right now. Just because the total number of EVs on the road is increasing so much. There are a bunch of additional incentives coming to increase it even further, and it just seems like a lot of the convenience factors are potentially going away a little bit now that we've had for the last couple of years. So stick with me and let me explain a little bit more about why I think that. So I've had a Tesla now for about 3.5 years, and I think that was pretty much perfect timing for a couple of things. Sure, there are a bunch of things that still need to get better. The charging infrastructure really does need to get built out in a significant way still in this country. But considering the total number of cars on the road versus infrastructure, I think that was probably about the best we're gonna have, at least for a long time, before they can build charging infrastructure out, in a way that it feels like the availability of gas stations. And so I know that with the Infrastructure Act and now the Inflation Reduction Act, both in progress, it seems like there's going to be a lot of money going toward building out more infrastructure. But it is still going to take a significant amount of time for that to happen. They're really just announcing things right now, and it's going to take years to do the full build outs and everything. And the real question is going to be, can the infrastructure setup keep up with the pace of the increase in total number of electric vehicles on the road? Because so far it's really been struggling with that. But even Tesla, who I think is doing a pretty good job of expanding their supercharger network, it's the biggest it's ever been. It is growing rapidly, and they're almost doubling every year, so they're growing at an exponential rate. But even still, they're having problems in some of the peak markets where there are super long lines at the chargers, and even when there aren't long lines, you might you're finding that more often you're having to share power with others, so your charging speed is half, and you are basically charging for twice as long, which definitely much less convenient, and could take a charging stop that would be 20, 30, 40 minutes up into an hour or almost two, depending on how much you're charging. Beyond even the Tesla charging, which has probably kept up the best with demand, the other DC fast charging infrastructure for all of the other EV manufacturers, so primarily through Electrify America and ChargePoint, SEMA, all of the other ones, is struggling even more. And so, there are plans to build out a lot more. I saw that Electrify America is going to build out at 25 IKEAs around the country, which I think is a great idea. Seems like a perfect place to go, walk around, do some shopping for 30 minutes, maybe grab some meatballs while your car charges up. But, otherwise, there's just not enough of them. And the bigger problem is that they're not maintained very well. So you go to a station and there might be 8 chargers there, but only 4 are working, and they've been broken for months, and they just don't get taken care of. So Electrify America seems to be doing the best of those, but there's still a long way to go with those in terms of them actually being maintained and staying operational, as well as having enough for the sheer number of cars that are going to be on the road. And another big thing that's changing is, I feel like 3 years ago when we first got a Tesla, it was a very different feeling and cool factor kind of vibe. It definitely felt more unique. It felt like you were at the bleeding edge of something. It felt like you were doing something sort of unconventional and different by having an electric car. But nowadays it's just, it's still the vast majority are not electric, but they're just more and more, and they're becoming more common, and they're less of an unknown thing for people. So you don't get stopped to have people ask you questions about them, and it certainly doesn't turn heads or anything the way that it used to. I guess some of them, like Rivian or Lucid and stuff do a little bit still, but you know, certainly not Tesla when there are just so many of them around here, especially. And then beyond the fast charging infrastructure, something else that I don't think is really keeping up is the public chargers, the L2 ones. So those are the ones that, you know, you see like in front of town halls and at municipal centers and things like that, shopping malls and things like that. I feel like you know, things were expanding quite rapidly for those a few years ago, and they were popping up with new ones all the time. But now it seems like that's really kind of stagnated, and you don't see them getting added all that often. And so you know, you can't really rely on those all that much, because there might only be one or two in a given town, and the chances of them being taken now are so much higher since there's more EVs on the road. So that's pretty disappointing, because, you know, as important as DC fast chargers are for road trips, it's the L2 ones that can really make the day-to-day even better. Whether it's, you know, getting a decent charge while you're shopping, or even just like recovering enough mileage to make up for the trip that you're making, has always been a great thing for us. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like the infrastructure for those is scaling up very much at all either. And there hasn't been a very large investment in that. And there's only going to be more and more cars on the road. So the Inflation Reduction Act passed the House over the weekend, and as of today, which is Tuesday, sounds like Biden's going to sign it into law today. So that is going to bring you know, big changes to the tax credit. So it's still really unclear exactly how they're going to implement this, because some of the way that it's written basically prevents almost every single EV from really qualifying. The things around like the assembly in North America and the battery minerals and components, those certainly seem like they're going to be problematic and actually keep people from getting the credit that would have gotten it in the existing form. But ignoring that, it does reopen it to some of the big manufacturers that either have already lost the credit, like Tesla or GM, or ones that were about to, like Ford. And so I think actually, you know, it's going to help encourage even more out on the road now. And even for the people that aren't necessarily eligible for it, either because of income limits or because of the car price limits, still just like having that awareness out there and you know, seeing more about it and seeing more on the road, it's going to have a halo effect and increase demand overall. So I think the pace of EV adoption is going to continue to increase, you know, significantly over the next couple of years. You're going to see more and more on the road, and that's going to lead to more problems with the infrastructure. But all of that definitely depends on the production of them and the ease of ordering and like time that it takes to actually get delivery stabilizing quite a bit more. So right now things have gotten just truly out of control. Tesla stopped even allowing you to order the Model 3 long range, which is probably the most popular individual option, at least other than the Model Y long range, because they know that they can't meet all of the demand that they have for the rest of the year, and so they're going to wait to reopen until either later in the year or early next year as a result of that. Kind of similar things for Ford with the Mach-E. They've had their order banks closed for quite a while now, and it actually pushed back reopening theirs. I was told by the dealership from August 15th to September 15th. So clearly everyone's having a hard time making enough cars right now, and the demand is just so high that these wait times are super long. And then with that, prices are increasing too. There haven't been any major increases on Teslas for at least a couple months now, which I'm sort of surprised by, but I think they're doing their best to like not go too much more, since they got some negative press around the increases before. But I think with the tax incentive coming, you know, that reducing the perceived cost of the car and increasing demand, I think it's likely to see some either price increases or sort of like removal of some of the cheapest options, and focusing on the more expensive ones, because they know that the demand is going to be there and there'll be plenty of customers for it. So prices could increase from an already pretty high level, and even if they don't, I think it's pretty unsustainable the way that things are priced right now. The reservations that you have to make, and then the long waiting time, it's just, you know, it's great for people like me that can afford to wait that long and have like other options, but most people cannot do that, and so they're trying to, you know, pick up a car like right off the lot and paying a incredible overhead for that over MSRP, which I think has got to stop. So hopefully those things are able to get addressed soon too, but in the meantime, it's made buying an EV much more painful than it needs to be. So I think when you put all of those things together, it's some of the best times for convenience, ease of ordering, ease of finding chargers, and just living day to day with an EV is probably a little bit in the rearview mirror at this point. And I'm optimistic that we've got much better days ahead. I think as infrastructure starts to get built out and all of these investments, start to pan out in the real world, we'll kind of get back to that point. But I do think the next couple of years are going to be a challenging time for EV owners or new first-time buyers as they're going through their first EV experience. And I hope that these negatives aren't enough that it turns people away from getting an EV. Hopefully they'll make it through and things will stay good enough that it'll continue to increase adoption. Because overall, the more cars, EVs that we've got on the road, the better. Sure, it'd be great if more people take public transportation and bikes, and if we would build that infrastructure for that, but I'm not holding my breath on that. So lacking that, if we are at least able to get more people in EVs, that's better overall. So hopefully we'll see some positive things around that soon. All right, if you like this, please do give a thumbs up. If you've got any questions about how I see things changing in the future, or any thoughts on how you're seeing things shift in the EV landscape, either in the past couple of years or now, definitely leave comments below. And other than that, please do subscribe. We've got a lot more stuff coming. I've been trying to film a whole lot right now ahead of our vacation, when it'll be a little bit harder to make things. So I've got a pretty big queue lined up. A couple of additional cars coming, some trips, and a few more informational videos on what it's like owning EVs right now, and some help for first-time buyers. So subscribe so you don't miss any of that. And other than that, thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.